Good morning, dear viewers. This is Juliana Diaz, and today I greet you from the annual conference of Institution of International Commercial Law and International Private Law. Here we have the Vice President of the UNIDROIT, Artur Harkam. The UNIDROIT was created in 1926. It has 63 members. Colombia is one of them. Mr. Harkam, how does the UNIDROIT help in the harmonization of international private law?
Good morning. The purpose of the International Institute for the Unification of Private Law are to examine the ways of harmonizing and coordinating the private law of states and of groups of states, and to prepare gradually for the adoption by the various states of uniform rules of private law. Due to that, it has been possible to unify the principles of private law in the world. A clear example is the unification of the Lex Mercatoria, which helps to carry out commercial pacts at the international level.
Thank you, Mr. Harkam. Now we have the pleasure to talk with the president of the UNCITRAL, Francisco Reyes Villamizar. This entity was founded in 1966 and has 16 member states. Also, Colombia is a member. Mr. Villamizar, what can you tell us about the labor that the organization is doing for improving the normative of international commercial law?
Yes, it is. It's dedicated to the reform of commercial law worldwide, increasing coordination and cooperation in the legal activities of the international and regional organizations that act in the field of commercial law. The Commission, which has its headquarters in Vienna, Austria, has prepared international conventions, model laws, legislative guides, and regulations on key aspects of international commercial law, such as dispute resolution, international contractual practice, transportation, insolvency, electronic commerce, international payments, secure transactions, public procurement, and international sales of merchandise. One of the most important contributions was the model law on international commercial arbitration.
Excellent! It's an amazing job. Our next guest is Christopher Bernasconi, the Secretary General of the Hague Conference on International Private Law. This organization comes with 85 members. One of them is the European Union as a regional integration forum. It was founded in 1893. Mr. Bernasconi, what has the entity done for the harmonization of the international private law?
Good morning, Ms. Juliana Diaz. From The Hague, which is the headquarters, we have promulgated the principles on choice of law in international commercial contracts, which are in concordance with the UNIDROIT principles of international commercial contracts that help the members of a contract to select the jurisdiction applicable to it. Also, the conference has enacted the Convention of Applicable Law for International Financial Transactions and a convention about the service abroad of judicial and extrajudicial documents in civil or commercial matters. For the record, your country, Colombia, is an observer nation.
Thank you for your intervention. Moving on, we have the opportunity to listen to the Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Luis Almagro, who is going to tell us about the CITES, which are a regional effort for harmonizing international private law. Mr. Almagro, how have the CITES apported to this matter?
Good morning. First, you need to know that the OAS counts with 13 member states. Colombia has been a member since 1948. The organization are conferences which were created in 1971. For each conference, a different location is selected. The organization are mechanisms used to deal with question of private international law. To date, 7 conferences have been held in the various combinations have been adopted, where such as conflicts of laws in matters of bills of exchange, promissory notes, invoices and checks, as well as international commercial arbitration, contracting of international transport of goods by road, and applicable law to international contracts were
What an interesting information, thank you. Now is the turn to the Secretary General of the UNTAC, Dr. Mukisa Kituji. This committee was originated in 1964. It was 195 member states and its headquarters is located in Geneva, Switzerland. Mr. Kituji, how has UNTAC contributed to the harmonization of international commercial law?
We support developing countries to access the benefits of a globalized economy more fairly and effectively, and we help equip them to deal with the potential drawbacks of greater economic integration. To do this, we provide, analyze, facilitate consensus building, and offer technical assistance. It acts as a forum for debate, which deals with reflecting on the different issues related to development, particularly with reference to international trade. Two of the most important contributions were the United Nations Convention on the Maritime Transport of Goods, 1988, and the Convention of the International Multimodal Transport of Goods, 1980.
It is important to remark these conventions. They are very useful in trade. I am pleased to introduce you, dear viewers, to the chairman of the International Chambers of Commerce, Ajay Paul Banga. This entity represents over 45 million companies of more than 100 nations. Its main office is in Paris, France, and it was created back in 1919. Mr. Banga, how does the ICC oppose to the international commercial law?
Well, the ICC is the entity that enacts the Incoterms, which are a group of clauses used in international trade for according the responsibilities, risks, and costs in an international logistic operation. They are internationally accepted and work only for tangible merchandise. Also, enacts the guidelines for issuing the certificates of origin, develop the model contracts, and offer the service of dispute resolution through the International Court of Arbitration. The ICC has a branch office in Bogota, Colombia.
It seems that the ICC does a lot, so it is time to start the space for other related institutions. Let me introduce you Mr. Darren Tan, the President General of the WIPO. This organization was created in 1967. Its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and comes with 187 member states. Colombia is a member as well. Mr. Tan, please tell us what contribution the WIPO has made for the international commercial law.
So, its main function is to promote the protection of intellectual property in the world through the cooperation of states and the administer various treaties that deal with the legal and administrative aspects of intellectual property. WIPO distributes relevant documents of electronic commerce in the internet, by email and of a paper. Also available is the Manual of Electronic Commerce and Intellectual Property that WIPO published in May 2000, which addresses the main issues related to electronic commerce and its impact on intellectual property.
Thank you, it was a fine intervention. Coming up next, we have the honor to listen to the General Director of the World Trade Organization, Mr. Roberto Acevedo. The WTO, with headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, has founded in 1995. It's the natural heir of the GATT. Colombia has been a member since 1995. Mr. Acevedo, what contribution has the WTO done to the international commercial law?
Good afternoon, all right. The WTO administers a global system of trade rules, functions as a forum for the negotiation of trade agreements, deals with settlement of trade disputes between its members through its arbitration tribunal. All this according to a series of fundamental principles that constitute the foundation of the multilateral trading system. One of its main contributions has been the Agreement on Trade Facilitation (TFA), which contains provision to expedite the movement, release, and customs clearance of goods, including goods in transit. It cuts with 164 members, representing 98% of the global trade.
As always, very clear with the information. Thanks, Acevedo. Our final guest, Blaise Compaoré, is the leader one of the most ambitious initiatives at regional level in this matter. The OHADA, this organization comes with 17 African member states, has its headquarters in Port Louis, Mauritius Island. Monsieur Compaoré, how does the OHADA help to the harmonization of international commercial law?
Good afternoon. The objective of the OHADA is the adoption of a common international and business law for all the African member states. So far, we have created the Common Code of Justice and Arbitration, which promulgates the laws of the OHADA and also solves disputes between parties. In addition, we have harmonized, among others, the laws of road freight transport, commercial societies, and business accounting.
What an amazing progress in the matter. Dear viewers, it's time to say goodbye. As we can see, there are several institutions that are working toward this goal. Some are regional, others are global, but all of them contribute to the same purpose. With time, effort, and good leadership, the harmonization can be improved soon. Very soon. Thank you for all.